Okay, so sit yourself on your left and just come into a good cross-legged position, just so that you feel evenly positioned underneath the seat bones. So we've still got a little bit of we've still got some poorliness amongst us. So you just take it at your own rate. Don't push yourself too hard. But with you know, if you're kind of under the weather, like COVID-y type things, then inversions are probably going to be good. So just you can do Supta baddhakonasana whenever you feel tired. So just sit yourself in a good cross-legged position, grip around your knees and lift and open the chest, and then draw your shoulders down away from your ears. Just look forwards, look down at the floor, look at something that doesn't move. Softening in the jaw and in your tongue. Just take deep in breaths and deep out breaths, keeping your eyes still in the sockets. Draw your lower teeth away from your upper teeth. Soften your tongue in your mouth, soften your throat. Just allow the breath to come in through the nose and reach all the way into the tips of the bronchial tubes. So feeling the chest rising and expanding as you inhale, and just gently lowering and contracting as you exhale. So as you inhale, allow the rib cage to expand to its maximum. Allow the back chest to expand. Allow the armpit chest to expand. So we draw in energy through the nose into the lungs, into the blood, and into every cell of the body. Bring your hands into Namaste. Press the palms firmly together and then close your eyes. Just continuing to breathe in without resistance, feeling that the upper body can expand to accommodate the breath. The more deeply you inhale, the more energy you glean from the breath, which is good for brain function and for optimal cellular function. Just listen to the sound of the breath. Feel that you can draw the breath into the lining of the lungs. Picture the lungs in 3 dimensions and allow them to expand evenly, so the left and the right lungs fill evenly and empty evenly. There's no restriction to full deep inhalation. So sometimes you have to soften the abdomen as you inhale inwards to create space to take the fullest breath you can. Then gently draw your chin down to meet your chest. Just spend a moment to seek to generate a genuine, heartfelt sense of gratitude for something or someone. And then just very gently release the backs of your hands down toward your knees, palms facing upwards. And then as you raise your head, allow your eyes to softly open. Just grip around your knees, lift and open the chest, drive the spine upwards, drawing your shoulders down away from your ears. Take a good, strong, deep inhalation. And with the exhalation, turn to the right side, drawing your abdomen across. So you try and get your belly button to point at that right knee and beyond. And turn the ribs and the shoulders. Keep the spine elevating upwards. So dig the back hand firmly into the floor in order to encourage the spine to turn a little more, using the out breath to intensify the turn. And then come back to the center, grip around your knees, lift and open the chest, drive the spine upwards, extend the spine towards the ceiling. Take a good, deep, full inhalation and then turn on the exhalation. Drawing the abdomen across, draw the belly button to face that left knee and beyond. Keep filling the lungs to the maximum, all the way out into the periphery of the bronchial tubes. Using the out breath to intensify the turn. And then just gently come back to the center. Just come off your lift and then just sit back on your heels. So sit in Virasana. So the big toes are together, your knees are nice and wide. So Julia, this is good for Virasana. It's really good if you've got tired legs because you went on a long walk. So this is a good way of kind of refreshing your legs. Just feel that the blade of the shin is making contact with the floor. So often when we bring the knees apart and the heels together, we kind of roll onto the inner edge of the shin. So just feel that you can kind of almost press the shins into the floor and try and almost separate them apart from each other, so that you roll right up onto the blade of the shin, right onto the edge of the shin, and then lift and open the chest. Raise your arms up towards the ceiling, spread the fingers, spread the palms. So push the big toes together, try and prise the heels apart, try and prise the shins apart so that you stay right up on the blade of the shin, and then come forwards. At some stage, you're going to kind of lose your connection between the seat bones and the heels. At that stage, bring the hands forwards, push the hands back into the floor, sit back on your heels, and then just stretch yourself forwards. And maintaining the lift of the front chest, maintaining the connection between the seat bones and the heels, and then bringing the forehead down. Just breathe in deeply into the lining of the lungs. So when you come forwards, it feels restricted in the abdominal region, but can you still breathe all the way into the tips of the bronchial tubes? So as you allow the body to accommodate the breath in different positions, you have to kind of seek out different areas of the back and of the front chest and of the side ribs in order to accommodate the breath. Come up onto your knees, turn your toes under, and then come up into dog down. So with bent knees initially, and then tilt the seat bones up towards the ceiling so that the shoulder blade region moves in, and then straighten the legs. Continue to breathe fully and deeply into the lining of the lungs. So especially if you're suffering from fatigue right now, the breath is the key to your energy. So aim to draw the breath all the way out into the tips of the bronchial tubes, into the lining of the lungs. Because that is where the blood that surrounds the lungs can absorb the oxygen from the breath. So the more deeply we can breathe, the more oxygen we get into the body and the more energy we manage to achieve. So listen to the sound of the breath as it enters and as it exits. Okay, step forwards, come up into a standing position. So have your feet as wide apart as your mat, turning your toes inwards so that the outside edge of your feet are in line with the edge of the mat. Lift and open the chest, have the hands on the hips, bend the elbows towards each other. If you're avoiding forward bending poses today, just come forwards and have your hands on a lift like this, like it's back of a chair or a table. Work the legs really firmly, keep the front chest lifting really firmly. So it's more like this, and going all the way down. If you don't have a restriction from your back, then lift and open the chest, squeeze the elbows together, come forward, come halfway. So tighten the kneecaps, tighten the thighs, lift and open the front chest. At the same time, you might notice that maybe your weight goes towards your toes. So can you hit your shins back, hit your thighs back so that your weight drives down into the heels, and then lift the seat bones up a little higher, lift the front chest further, and then broaden at the abdomen as you come forwards a little more, and then reach down and find the floor. If you can't find the floor, put blocks underneath your hands. So broaden at the abdomen. Tighten the kneecaps, hit the thigh muscles firmly into the bone, rotate those frontal thigh muscles inwards, lift the seat bones up away from the heels, project the chin and the chest forward. Breathe all the way into the tips of the bronchial tubes. And then if there's no restriction on your back, you can reach around your ankles. Otherwise, stay at that stage, or whichever stage you're comfortable with, and then draw the body in. Continuing to breathe evenly and deeply. Bring your hands into your hips. Just come up into a standing position, and then just come up into Tadasana. So the inner edge of your feet are together. Lift and open the chest. So just listening to the sound of the breath as it enters and as it exits. So sometimes when you bring your arms into the sides of the body like this, you get a kind of a restriction around the armpit chest. So if you feel that as you inhale and there's a restriction around the armpit chest, turn the palms outwards so that you can broaden the chest a little more. And then you can breathe into the armpit chest. Bring your arms out nice and wide, spreading the fingers, spreading the palm skin in towards the chest, and then step or jump the feet nice and wide. Go nice and wide for trikonasana. Turn your left toes in slightly, the right leg and foot all the way out. And then just place the feet. So if you remember last week, we were talking about lifting the inner ankle from the, especially from this inside. So you lift the inner ankle up into the inner ankle up into the ankle bone, but you do the same on both sides of that back foot. So that back foot feels firm. It's the middle of the heel that is in contact with the floor. Tighten the kneecap of that back leg, press the middle of the heel into the floor, and then come over and find the shin. Just look down rather than up, but turn the chest up to face the ceiling. And just focus on drawing the breath in through the nose and out through the nose. So when you've come into a pose, maybe you realize that you have to accommodate the breath in different ways. So maybe you realize that you shrink around here, around the armpit chest on the right side. So you have to kind of lift from the abdomen all the way up into the armpit so that you can accommodate the breath evenly on both sides. Just see if you can tell the difference. So wherever there is restriction in the breath, see if you can address that with the body physically. Come up to the center. Just release the hands, swap the feet around, turn the right toes in, left foot all the way out. So just spend a moment just reorientating yourself and lift the inner ankle and the outer ankle of that back foot. Lift the kneecap, turn this thigh all the way out. Stretch the arms out. Just feel how you can breathe more evenly into both lungs at the moment. Go down on an out breath. And then notice how the breath changes. So when you come over onto this side always wants to shrink. And so maybe this lung doesn't accommodate the breath as evenly as that lung. So you've got to lengthen from here in at the top of the bottom of the hip all the way up into the armpit chest. So really lift and lengthen that side. And then feel that you can breathe evenly. So there are many indicators of our alignment. If you just let that area shrink, just let it shrink. And then the breath feels wrong. And then lengthen that left side. And then the breath feels a bit more right. So breathe in evenly and deeply. And then come back to the center. Bring the feet parallel and jump or step the feet back together. Just come back to Tadasana. Listen to the sound of the breath. Stretch the arms forwards, extend your arms up towards the ceiling. Breathe in nice and softly in through the nose and out through the nose. Focusing on that evenness of the breath. Breathing into the armpit chest, into the front chest, into the back chest. As you inhale, you feel the diaphragm flatten. As you exhale, you feel the diaphragm rise up. And then come back to the center. So have a couple of blocks for your hands, and we're going to jump or step the feet wide apart for Prasarita Padottanasana. Now, it's always useful when you do Prasarita Padottanasana if you bring your heels onto the back edge of your mat, and then you know that your feet are in line with each other, but we'll be able to use it for our hands later on as well. So bring the feet as wide apart as you can, so wider than trikonasana, and then turn your toes inwards. Now, this stage, this is where if you're going to get a burning sensation on the outer edge of your ankles, it's now, because we're going really, really wide. So the body wants to kind of spread outwards. So we have to suck the body inwards. So suck the outer thighs in, suck those outer ankles up into the ankle bone. Suck those outer ankles up into the ankle bone, suck the outer thighs up into the hips, and then lift up into the chest. Breathe and fill the lungs evenly. Wing the elbows towards you behind the back. That didn't make any sense, did it? Wing the elbows towards each other behind your back. And then hinge at the hips, come down on an out breath. And then reach the floor, or if you can't reach the floor, have blocks for underneath your hands. So just stay at this stage, turning your toes inwards, sucking those outer ankles up to the ankle bone, sucking the inner ankles up into the ankle bone, sucking the outer thighs in and up towards the hips. So there's this kind of feeling of scooping up of this outer thigh. The outer thighs kind of suck up into the hips. Project the chin and the chest forwards. Just breathe evenly. So if your back is kind of rounding, or if your legs are bent, just stay at this stage, working to continue to straighten the legs and to straighten the back. But if you can go to the next stage, I want you to lift the chest, the abdomen up towards the chest. Take a good deep in breath, and then hinge at the hips, not at the back. Don't let the back bend. So hinge at the hips, and then walk the heels of the hands in line with the heels of the feet. And then bring the head down. So you push the hands firmly into the floor, almost pushing the hands towards the front of the room, almost like you're coming onto a 3-point headstand. And it's almost like, and we're not going to do this, by the way, it's almost like you're going to lift your feet off the floor and go up into a headstand. But the legs feel firmly planted. Breathe evenly. If you can reach around the outsides of the heels and pull the heels in. Breathe evenly. So if you allow all of your weight to land down on your head, the body can't accommodate the breath. So keep the legs working really firmly, lifting out of the feet up into the hips. Taking the weight off of the head. Breathing evenly in through the nose and out through the nose, all the way into the tips of the bronchial tubes. Lengthening the shoulders away from the ears. Okay, release your heels, bring your hand back underneath your shoulders, and then come back up into the first stage. And then just stay here and breathe for a few moments. Just breathing all the way into the tips of the bronchial tubes. Bring the palms of the hands down, bend your knees, step or jump the feet back together, and then come up into Tadasana. Inner edge of the feet together, And raise your arms up. Again, just breathe in into the tips of the bronchial tubes. And then release your arms down. And then just come down onto your back into Supta baddhakonasana. So we're going to do headstand preparation in a moment. So just let yourself come down into Supta baddhakonasana just to give yourself just a gentle rest. But remember, making the pose dynamic helps the energy to flow. So press the heels together, lengthen the inner legs out to the inner knees around to the outer knees into the outer legs, into the hips, into the ankles. Broadening the abdomen so that the abdominal walls draw towards the floor. Interlock the fingers, turn the palms all the way up to the ceiling, keeping the outer corner of the shoulder blades down on the floor. And then extend your arms away. So just listen to the sound of the breath. Just notice how the breath sounds like the sea coming into the bay. Okay, and then just release your hands, just resting your hands on your lower ribs. Just spend a few moments just resting down into the floor. Okay, and then just draw your knees together, pull your knees in toward your chest, just have a little rock from side to side, from top to bottom. And then just sit yourself up. So we're going to do a little headstand preparation. Now, if you know that you can go up into a headstand and you can either balance or use the wall, then you can just go straight up if you want to. But again, it's all about whether that feels right for you today, because even though, you know, obviously I can kind of bring myself up into a headstand easily, but when I've been poorly over the weekend, it hasn't really felt right to go all the way up. So the preparation stage feels much more kind of right for the feeling from then. So you just kind of gauge that for yourself. But we're going to do just the preparation stages because that you get the same kind of benefits of the inversion just from doing those. So if you're wearing glasses, it's good to take them off as long as you can kind of see. I'll be describing what we're doing anyway. So the kind of base of the pose, we've spent a while on that last week, is where you interlock the fingers, but it's not a death grip. You're not kind of trying to kind of push your fingers through the back of your hand. It's really where, when you interlock your fingers, you kind of lengthen the finger from the knuckle all the way into the fingertip and towards the opposite wrist. So just interlock the fingers. And so you get a really good interlock between the webbing of the hands, but lengthen the fingers towards the opposite wrist. So you're not kind of gripping you know, the ends of your fingers don't go a lighter color. It's like where the fingers are just lengthening towards the wrists. So you get that firm contact, but without the death grip. So if your hands get sweaty when you're in a headstand, you're working your hands too hard. And then with the thumbs, you just lengthen the thumbs towards the knuckles. So there's that real firmness in the hands. And then bring the little finger side of the hands down onto the floor. Have the elbows in line with your shoulders, so not wider apart than your shoulders, because otherwise it becomes a collapsing action. When the elbows are above the shoulder or underneath the shoulders, there's firmness. It's like foundation, if you like. Pick up so have the elbows on the floor, pick up the little finger side and then lengthen that little finger side away from the elbows, and then bring the little fingers down. So remember, you're lengthening the fingers, you're not gripping them. Lengthening the thumbs towards the knuckles. The cup of your hand stays quite about an inch open, if you like. Draw the chin in towards the chest, and then bring the top of the head onto the floor. And then push the skull into the heels of the hands. Push the heels of the hands into the skull. Turn your toes under, and then just come up into dog down, or dog down legs anyway. So the forearms are pressing firmly into the floor, shoulders lifting up away from your ears. There should be very little weight on your head. It should be all on your forearms and elbows. Lengthen from the armpits into the elbows. And then just gently come down. So just breathe nice and softly in through the nose and out through the nose. In through the nose and out through the nose, feeling that you're accommodating that breath. So this time we're going to walk in towards our head a little. But one of the most important actions, you know, that when we do namastic and I say lengthen from the armpit into the elbow, that action is really important also in headstand. So you got to lengthen from the armpit into the elbow. So you really kind of make the base of the pose really firm. So just come down again and make sure that the elbows are not wider apart than your shoulders, lengthening that little finger side away, bring the outside edge of the forearms down onto the floor. And then tuck the chin into the chest, bring the top of the head onto the floor, push the base of the skull into the hands, turn your toes under, and then lengthen the armpits into the elbows. Draw the shoulder blades in towards the spine, and then walk your toes in, keep your legs straight. So upside down, maybe your breath has changed. So try and really lift up into the seat bones. And try and let the breath be soft. Push the head into the hands into the head. Push the forearms into the floor, lengthen the forearms. Lengthen from the armpits into the elbows. Breathe in nice and softly. Lengthening the shoulders up away from your ears. Good. And then just gently come down. Good. So one of the things about so there's some nice straight backs there. One of the things that you've got to be really cautious of is letting the back is letting the front chest sink, because you have to really lift up the front chest, and so that's a difficult action in dog down as well, this lifting of the chest. So we're going to do it one more time, and this time we're going to really focus on the lift of the front chest. So when you come down, so this is what we kind of see generally. So we've got to try and lengthen draw the shoulder blades in towards the chest, and then feel as you come forwards, keep the front chest long, not letting it shrink. Keep the front chest long. That comes from the shoulders and from that armpit into the elbow. So just one more time, and then this time we're going to walk in and then just kick up. But as you kick up, try and keep your hips level so they don't kind of come out of line like this. They come up level. So just one more time, just come down, find that kind of base shape of the pose, and then turn the toes under and then walk the toes in. So lengthening from the armpits into the elbows, lengthening the fingers into the wrists, lifting the shoulders up away from the ears, tilting the seat bones up towards the ceiling. Breathe nice and softly, and then keeping the hips level, keeping the legs straight. See if you can lift one leg. Don't try and kick up, just lift it as high as you can. Keeping the shoulders lifting, keeping the shoulder blades pushing firmly forwards, Andrew, lengthening the front chest, and then swap the legs. Breathe in nice and softly, that's it, good. Long, slow, deep, deliberate breaths. Okay, and then just bring the leg back down. Good, and then come down onto your knees. And then just rest forwards in Adho Mukha Virasana. So if we were in the room together, I could kind of help you get your legs up in, you know, we would do that up against the wall. You don't really learn how to do a headstand in the middle of the room if you go all the way up, because obviously most people wouldn't feel that they could balance. But when we do it in the room together, we would do that up against the wall, and then I could help you lift your legs up. But obviously we're not in the same room together, so we just need to use whatever we've got. I do think that learning how to do the base of the pose in the middle of the room is useful. Okay, and then just gently just sit yourself back onto your heels. Good, and then just come into a cross-leg position. So grip around your knees and lift and open the chest, drawing your shoulders down away from your ears. Just listening to the sounds of the breath. Lengthen the chin forwards and down towards the collarbone. Lift the collarbone up towards the chin, so you make that contact between the chest and the chin. If you can't make contact, then you can use a pair of socks or one of these kind of yoga eye pillows and just put that in between, just to create that length. So the length from the chin down towards the collarbone, and then collarbone up towards the chin, Jalandara, bandha. Draw the shoulders down away from your ears. Just spend some time to focus on drawing your breath in through your nose and out through your nose, all the way out into the periphery of the lungs. Breathing evenly. And if you want to, you can incorporate mula bandha, which is where you lift the anal sphincter upwards towards the diaphragm. Just continuing to breathe evenly. And then release mula bandha, release Jalandara bandha to bring the head back level. Grip around your knees, lift and open the chest, drive the spine upwards. Just take deep inhalations, deep indulgent inhalations in through the nose and out through the nose. And then just release the legs and bring the feet into baddhakonasana. Now, if you feel that you kind of sink in the abdomen or you sink in the chest in baddhakonasana, then sit on a lift. Otherwise, just sitting directly on the floor, get hold of the big toes, just move things out of the way in front of you. You might want some blocks in front of you. So just get hold of the big toes, lift and open the chest, drive the chest upwards. So if you're avoiding forward bending, then just stay at this stage, just really lift and open the chest. We've got to really get this abdomen to lift up towards the diaphragm, towards the collarbone. And then as you come forwards, hinge at the hips, bending the elbows out to the side. Maybe you can bring your elbows into the inner thighs so you can lengthen those inner thighs outwards. If you can reach forwards and then bring your hands onto the floor, or you can have your hands on blocks, walking them forward. So as you come forward, keep the front chest lifted. Keep the breath even. Listen to the sound of the breath. Lift and open the chest. Breathe evenly in through the nose and out through the nose. Smile. Bring the breath in through the nose, out through the nose. And then just walk your hands back. And then bring your legs back into swastikasana. Grip around your knees, lift and open the chest. Take a really good deep in breath and then turning from the abdomen, just gently turn around to the right side. And come back to the center, grip around the knees, lift and open the chest. And then turn to the left. And then just gently come back to the center, just come down onto your back, just pull your knees in towards your chest, just have a little rock from side to side, from top to bottom. And then pull your feet in towards your seat bones. If you're not going to do setubandha, you can do Viparita karanhi, maybe have a bolster underneath your lower back or just a folded blanket or whatever underneath your back. Otherwise, just lift the seat bones up towards the ceiling, bring the hands apart, and then turn the palms down to face the ceiling. So the tricep down to face the floor. So the triceps and the biceps rotate. So you come right up onto the tops of the shoulders. Bring the block into the small of the back, into the sacrum area of your back, not into the lumbar, into the sacrum, and then grip around your knees. Gather the shoulder blades together. And then just either stay with bent legs, or if it feels okay for your back, you can just try stretching one leg out, have that along the floor, have the heel touching the floor, stretch the other leg, bring it back. If that feels okay in your back, then you can stretch both legs away. So breathing evenly, keeping the chest really lifted and open. So gathering the shoulder blades together, staying right up on the tops of the shoulders. Just listening to the sound of the breath. Just breathing evenly. Okay, walk your feet back to the block. Just lift the seat bones up off the lift. And then just bring yourself down onto the floor and then pull your knees in towards your chest. So have a little rock from side to side, top to bottom, just giving yourself excuse me, a gentle massage on the spine. And you rock yourself up into a seated position. Just fold your blanket up so it becomes a little pillow for your head. Make sure it's evenly folded. Move your equipment out of the way so that you can stretch out without kind of feeling like you're restricted. Bring yourself down onto the floor. If you can take your glasses off, then do. And then just feel that you're in a really good straight line. Let yourself release into the floor. So just listening to the sound of the breath as it enters and as it exits. Just focusing on filling the lungs evenly and emptying the lungs evenly. Allowing the body to completely release into the floor. Feeling the energy, the lightness of your energy rising to the top of the skin. Using your in-breath and your out-breath to evenly distribute that breath, that energy rather. Okay, when you're ready, just gently wriggle your toes, wriggle your fingers, just bring your body back into this pose of Sirvasana. And pull your knees in towards your chest, just a little rock from side to side, from top to bottom, just giving yourself a gentle massage on the spine. Just a little grounding massage. And then just roll over onto your right side. Just rub the palms of your hands really briskly together to create heat between the palms of your hands. And then cover your eyes, your eye sockets with the warm palms. Just open your eyes. Look into the warm darkness of the palms of the hands. And then just softly, gently release the hands away from your eyes so that the light comes into your eyes. Stretch the top leg out. Just come up into a seated position. Just a final cross legs with your hands in Namaste, just a final spinal lift. Just draw the breath in through the nose, down into the abdomen. Be conscious of the energy that you have released through your practice this morning, that good, positive, healthy flow of clean energy, that the extensions, the forward bends, the twists, the inversions bring to the body and to the mind. And then draw your chin down to meet your chest. Just spend a moment to acknowledge the positive energy you've created inside. And send some of that positive energy out into the world. And then just gently release the backs of your hands down toward your knees, palms facing upwards. As you raise your head, allow your eyes to softly open and the focus to softly come back. Thank you very much. Thank you. So hopefully you feel like you've given yourself a good kind of stretching out and you have released your energy. So hopefully using the focus of the breath, you can release your energy. So thank you very much.